Saraya, Saraya, formerly known as Paige, she has left AEW. She just resigned like in September, October. And we were kind of making fun of them for resigning her because we were like, you know, like, what are we doing? But they re-signed her, and she has not been on the TV show since. Apparently, she asked for her release, and Tony Khan was like, "The Iron Sheik still works here? What the fuck?" And kind of like let her out of her deal, and so now she is a free agent, man. But Saraya is out of the company.
I heard that I think Joe and Rich kind of disputed that she re-signed. That she was actually her contract was going to be up in September, and somehow that got I don't even know. So I remember
I think it was
like,
a 1-year option type of deal. Like they picked up her
could have
options.
been.
I think that's what it was.
Could have been Tony picked up the option and then she just wanted to go. I think that our good buddy, I'm going to say John Muse because John Muse had told us this, when Vince had the story of maybe they have a lot of talent there, maybe we'll send them some more. And it wound up kind of spoiling the pool a little bit. I think that Tony's starting to do the same thing over there by just kind of feeding, you want out? Okay, fine. There's been a definite shift in the way he does business this year. And I think that again, what are you gonna do with Saraya? Like they utilized her as much as possible and used her for more than was necessary. Because 10 years ago she was a big name, right? Like she was one of the first NXT to WWE mainstream people that kind of got over, right? And then she just got hurt and really is never really the same. So good. I mean, like, open up a roster spot, open up some money. Like, I don't think she was helping them with anything anymore. She got to have her moment in Wembley, which I'm sure was cool. I don't think she's headed back to the Federation anytime soon. I don't know why they would sign her again. I think she's probably done with wrestling. Would be my guess.
That would be my guess too, unless they were like doing something in the UK and there was like it's like a special thing. Like here's one of our legendary wrestlers because I think that she was on the forefront of that women's wrestling boom that happened in WWE like in 2014. Like she really was. Like she was the initial catalyst, and then of course you had the 4 Horsewomen, and then Ronda Rousey is what took them like to the main event, right? Like it was Ronda that gave them the confidence to be able to main event like the women, and then Becky Lynch got fucking hot as shit, and then they've been a significant portion of the programming ever since then, right? So, but Paige was the catalyst. I think that they'll bring her back as like a Legends deal type thing, put her into the Hall of Fame. I think that she'll go in. They put a woman in every year, but I think as she'll be more deserving than a lot of the women that we've seen go into that Hall of Fame for sure. So, and then look, she broke her neck on their dime, right? And so I think that keeping her around as a legend would be a good thing. I think we got fucking troll ass Canadian in the chat saying she's TNA bound. You know what? Like, I think TNA would love to have her, to be honest with you, but because look, she's got Fed cred and she's got dub cred, and those are the two things they like the most in wrestlers, right? Like if you've been on WWE TV or if you've been on AEW TV, she's got both. So I think they would love to have her. I just don't know that she can go, right? So if she could go and she wasn't really looking for a ton of money, I think that they would love to bring her in, but I just don't think it'll happen.
I don't think it's a fit.
Yeah. But it was that I don't know, that run I thought was kind of weak, and like this was her coming in, I think was kind of like the bloom was off the rose in AEW with all their free agent signings, because I think it was like exciting whenever they were bringing in WWE talent. Like it was exciting when Adam Cole came in. It was exciting when Bryan Danielson came in. And it was exciting for Mike and JD when Swerve came in because we were big fans. But then you just started getting like fucking everybody. It's like, dude, we got Johnny TV. We got like Taya Valkyrie, and we got all these other people. It's like, man, you guys are just bringing in anybody that was on that show because they got friends.
And that was Vince's thing. That's what he talked about. Vince knew because he had been in the game long enough that if they would not, the same with WCW. If they were going to have to pick up everybody that came their way. It was the same as like when they brought in Over the Hill British Bulldog and the ghost of Jim the Evil Neidhart.
Yeah, and they had fucking they brought in like Crush and called him Brian Adams, and they had VK Wall Street, and it's like they were just signing anybody that was part of the big company, and it made them look low rent. AEW was going through that. But take a look at 2025. They shed themselves of Malachi Black. Andrade leaves a year ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just got rid of Paige. and look, or Saraya, and now look who they're hiring: Speedball, Josh Alexander, rumored to come in, and just this week they announced Kevin Knight, right?
Kevin Knight.
Yeah, I think that's a big signing for them.
I like Kevin Knight. So I know there's not a lot of space there, but they're clearing out. And you need more guys like Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight came up in the New Japan dojo. Shibata trained, right? So makes sense, right? That you can see where that happened. And Kevin Knight's really good. He's good. Like I thought he'd be I thought he'd be fed down. I thought that NXT would have picked him up.
Yeah, but you know what? Like Shibata's his coach. Shibata's there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I don't think that. I think Tony outbid WWE for them. I think they like when they looked at Kevin Knight, it's like, hey, you're really good, but you're not a star, right?
Yeah.
And we want you to be in an entry level position in NXT, and we're going to pay you entry level NXT money, which is not a lot, right? Like you have to work your way up there. And I think Tony Khan was like, you know, I see that you have star potential. I think you can be a star sooner if you come with us, and I'll probably pay you a little bit more money to show you that.
So I think the interesting comparison is how I love the legit question because I don't watch NXT. How is Eddie Thorpe doing?
Eddie Thorpe just co-headlined one of the big shows against Trick Williams actually and beat him.
So that's good actually.
He's working his way up, but he struggled for a while to fit in.
For a while, and this was a dude that I'm blanking on what his real name is. Like I was a fan of his. Thank you. Carl Fredericks was supposed to be the top gaijin, right? That's what they had their eye in for this whole training group, right? This whole class. Carl Fredericks was going to be the gaijin. Like he had the look, he could work. They're like, okay, and then it went south. Like Gato can be really slow to push young guys, right? Yeah. And Carl Fredericks kind of got sick of it and jumped to NXT, and he's been there for like 2 years now. So I mean, he's had to like start all over again. So I think they kind of probably, you're right. I think they probably offered Kevin Knight the Carl Fredericks deal. Yeah. Whereas Tony said, they gave him the graphic. You get the graphic on day one. They're telling people, hey, we believe in this guy. So I think you're right. They probably outbid him. They probably putting a little bit more belief in him. Where it goes from here, I don't know. Tony's not great at follow through, but let's see if they actually have an idea. Like at least, hey, they brought Speed. Look at it this way. I didn't think they were going to do much with Speedball. They brought him in and immediately programmed him with Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
Well, I mean, let's see where he's at 6 months from now. But I like what they're doing right away. Which international title, that's Speedball's level. It's X Division title. That's Speedball's level. That's where he's at.
It's on Kenny. But the fact that belt is on Kenny Omega elevates it significantly.
Yes, 100%. Right? Yeah.
Like so, and the fact that he's in there and he's worked. Ricochet has been reborn and is more vital in pro wrestling now than he's been since probably any point. Right?
Yeah.
Like this version, the more demented Andrew Tate version of Ricochet, which I'll always think of him as, is the most interesting version of Ricochet, right? So you've got him. I don't like three ways, but the fact that you've got these guys programmed in together, I think is the least interesting. We've never seen anything quite like this before with these three. So they're showing some faith in Speedball. Makes me think that they'll have something in mind for Josh Alexander.
Yeah.
But let's see what they got with Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight's a prodigy, man. I think he could really do some damage.
Yeah. So everybody that's watching or listening to this, I want you to go back almost 2 years ago. You can look it up on YouTube, Kevin Knight versus Moose. And that was when I knew that Kevin Knight could actually work main event style. Because he worked with Moose. And that match was fucking incredible, dude. Like, and people don't want to give credit to Moose for being a good worker. Moose is a really good worker. And he made Kevin Knight look like made him look like Ricky Steamboat. You know what I mean? Like just this great underneath babyface working his way up. They just had a tremendous match. And then they ended up letting Kevin do some of his high flying moves. Moose kept cutting him off and beating him down. He had a really good comeback spot. It was just a tremendous match.
Here's what's interesting too about what AEW's got going on right now is the knock for years, like they don't push anybody from underneath and they don't try to build anybody. Look at Kinosuke Takeshita. No, I want you to look at Kyle Fletcher specifically. Yeah. These are young guys that were not main event. I mean, like Takeshita was, I don't know if he was ever like a guy in Noah, maybe someone, or not Noah, excuse me, DDT, maybe someone can correct me. I think he was just like a guy. I don't think he was like close to the guy in DDT. Correct me, King, if I'm wrong. Kyle Fletcher was just a tag team guy in New Japan.
Yeah.
Right. Both of them are finding new levels of success. I know they really want to get behind Hobbs, but Hobbs kind of always gets hurt or something always kind of short circuits him. But they seem to be getting behind Hobbs again. I wish they get behind Brody King. Like they're really starting to do stuff more with the next generation of guys, and I think that Kevin Knight can be a big part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Myron Kidd has a question here. So do you think AEW is poaching New Japan talent? Yeah, I think that's interesting because the perception is that WWE is poaching TNA and they're abusing their little partner in TNA and this and that. They've signed one star, and that was Jordan Grace. And
who was going there anyway?
Yeah, she was going there anyway. So I'm saying, but that perception's out there, and that perception exists in AEW fandom and AEW like circles, right? Because it's part of the tribalistic argument. WWE is abusing TNA when TNA is having the best business they've had in a decade because of the relationship with TNA. So, or because of the relationship with WWE. So WWE is not poaching TNA's talent, right? At least we have not. There's no evidence of that yet. However, AEW, since that partnership has happened between the two companies, Will Ospreay, Okada, Jay White, you got Kevin Knight, you got Aussie Open, you got and now Mina Shirakawa's coming in, and I know that's Stardom. I don't think AEW is poaching New Japan either. I think the New Japan doesn't have the money to sign those people, and AEW does, right? So that's not a raid, it's not a poach, it's just business. So I don't think WWE is poaching TNA, and I don't think AEW is poaching New Japan.
Like, and I don't think they're poaching. Like, I think WWE poached New Japan talent. Because let us not forget the raid of 2016 where they signed 4 major players the night before Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
Like, that is poaching. Right? AEW they're working with TNA, and quite frankly, they're paying them more. Remember when they signed Aussie Open, they immediately signed Aussie Open after Mark Davis got hurt. Right? And Tony paid for Mark Davis's surgery. Like, in reality, they don't pay great. Right? Especially right now with where the business is in Japan. Right? It's just down. Right? Business across everywhere, not WWE, is down. Like, I don't like this idea of like you're not supposed as a talent you're not supposed to make money. Like, it's just stupid to me. Like, find me another business where people are like, "Oh my God, you want to make a living? Oh, fuck you. Fuck you." Like, it's so bizarre to me.
I think after what happened in TNA this week and what's happened in WWE and even sometimes in AEW, never be super loyal to your employer. Always do a good job. Always work hard. But when it's time that contract is up, you need to go get yours, right? And I think in Japan, in that culture, it is a very loyal culture to where like people do switch sides, right? But it's like a big deal when it happens because it's pretty rare. Like when Kenta left to WWE, that was a big deal. And then when he came back and he didn't sign with Noah and he went to New Japan, that also was a big deal. And now that he's back in Noah, again, it's a big deal because those things just don't happen as frequently as it does in America. But in American culture, it's a capitalistic society, and you don't have to have loyalty to your bosses. You always work hard for your money because you want to be able to continue working. But when your time is up and it's time to go get what's coming to you. Go get paid.
I think it also comes through with the history of the business. Is wrestling is in the United States specifically has always been a bit of a vagabond business where you do your time like let's go like you look through like the 20s until the 2000s, really. Like, you did your time in a specific place and then you moved on because it was better for you and it was better for the business. Like, new talent coming in is what makes wrestling interesting. WWE's running promos or vignettes for Ray Phoenix now, right? Ray Phoenix, that's good for them. It's a new luchador. It's somebody that people can get excited about that, who of. Like, dude, when I was a kid, nothing made me happier than when some dude showed up that I recognized from the wrestling magazines. Right? Dude, I love that stuff.
I just remember, like, when Lex Luger showed up on Nitro, like, that was, like, one of the coolest moments. And, like, when, Jeff Jarrett went back and forth a couple of times. And I know Rick Rude being on WCW Nitro and Raw on the same night. Like, free agency is, like, fun in pro wrestling. It is fun in football. It is fun in baseball. Like, one of my favorite months of baseball is actually December when the hot stove starts. And you start seeing all these free agents signing in different places, and you start getting excited for the new teams. We're experiencing right now in NFL, like, it's free agency month. Actually, this month has been shitty for the 49ers. They've lost so many players. It has been incredible. But I think that's exciting. I think that's a good thing. It keeps the business interesting.
I don't see what's wrong. Like, I don't hate Penta because he signed with WWE. I think it's good for him. He'd been with AEW for a long time, and this is an opportunity he probably never would have gotten without getting that AEW exposure.
Yeah.
Right? Cody, what is Cody to WWE if he doesn't help AEW get off the ground? And don't tell me he comes in. Don't tell me he comes into WWE in 2020 or 2019 as big as he did in 2022.
No,
like,
he's bigger than Stardust because I think he had kind of made everybody believe that he could be a top guy with what he was doing in Ring of Honor and what he was doing in Japan and what he did for. And I'll say NWA, his matches with Aldis were very good. And they actually did a little bit of business, not crazy business, but they did some business. But that was all out, right? And then of course the cage match that they had, all in, yeah, the all in, and then of course the cage match, right? So him and Aldis did some good stuff. But I don't think he comes in as a world champion, and they're building the entire company around him. If he doesn't go to AEW, that doesn't happen.
Correct. Like, remember when Jon Moxley shows up at the first Double or Nothing? Like, I know people are down on him now, but when that dude made the cameras shake, the cameras were shaking in the building because people were so excited. Like, I don't like tribalism in wrestling because it's boring. Like, again, I'm a AEW fan, but I'm also a fan of guys getting paid a lot of money and getting refreshed. Because again, I was a kid, I used to love that. I used to love when guys would show up. When the Steiners showed up in WWF, I was like, oh my God, it's the Steiner brothers. I can't believe they're here. Like, that's part of the fun of wrestling is when people go someplace they don't quote unquote belong. Right? And again, we can finish up with something else kind of like that. Like, I think this is what makes wrestling cool is like the potential of people showing up. So I think that if you're a Shin Nihon guy who pretends to be loyal to them, no company is loyal to you. Like, no company is ever going to be loyal to you as a consumer. They're going to do what's best for them. So don't be loyal to one specific company because you feel like you owe them. That's stupid. If the White Sox are bad this year, which they probably will be, I'm going to stop paying attention. Right? Because life is too short to watch bad sports or be miserable.
Yeah. So Jeff Jarrett a couple weeks ago said that tribalism is good in pro wrestling where it's like you got your hardcore fans. And I think it's important to have those hardcore fans and you got to service those fans. But I think part of that is like signing the right free agents. And I think where AEW went wrong is they signed the wrong free agents.
All the free agents.
Yeah. They were signing. Did you see that Von Wagner was on Ring of Honor this week, by the way?
Oh, God.
Cal Bloom's.
They'll bring in anybody. They'll kick the tires on anybody. EJ Naduka's been in like a developmental thing for them for like 5 years or something like that. Like, if they're in Ring of Honor, I don't have to see him. It's perfectly fine. Like, I think that's fine. I think that's what Ring of Honor should do. Ring of Honor exists kind of like how Dark used to, right? Yeah. Like, let's see if this guy's any decent. Nope. Oh, okay.